Tokyo, the gigantic metropolis of an exotic world. A world in which samurai traditions meet with all of the technical wizardry of the 21st century. The center of Japan, where the Imperial Palace, temple and gardens are located within modern developments. Surrounded by skyscrapers, the Imperial Palace is located in the center of the city, where mighty walls and moats protect this relic of the early Edo period. Whitewashed watchtowers and dark roofs deliver a vivid impression of the distinct sense of power of the Tokugawa Shoguns. Spacious gardens surround the palace, and several stone walls once provided resistance against hostile forces. Where bowmen once formed a final defense, today there are palace guards. This famous stone bridge leads to the main entrance of the palace. The changing of the guard ceremony always attracts a large crowd of onlookers. Only a small section of the imperial residence can be seen from here. Many travelers to Tokyo arrive in the city's main train station. It was built in 1914 and was modelled on that of Amsterdam's train station, a red brick building in Renaissance style. Hamarikyu. Japan's first shogun went duck hunting here. A summer mansion and garden were added. Later, this inland lake was connected to the sea, which augmented the park's symbolic value. The lake symbolizes the Eastern Sea, and the tea house, the myth-covered island of Horai, where in Taoist tradition the elixir of immortality is hidden. Today, the city's inhabitants visit the 25-hectare gardens that are located at the mouth of Sumida in Tokyo Bay. Ownership often changed hands, but both tea houses and duck pond remained. Close by, beyond an imposing gate, is Shiba Park that was acquired from the nearby bay during the Edo period. The park was once the cemetery of the Tokugawa clans, recalled today by a variety of stone figures. In the center is the family temple of Zojoji, which was built in 1393. In 1598, Ieyasu moved here to protect his new capital. The The present temple building dates from 1974, as devastating earthquakes and raging fires severely undermined its original splendor. However, the temple complex continued to be a place of meditation and Buddhism. Adjacent is Tokyo Tower, that is situated on the edge of the Roppongi district, a replica of Paris's Eiffel Tower. "333 meters high, shining red and white, day and night." To the west, the 26-hectare Aoyama Cemetery contains many thousands of graves. It was inaugurated in 1872. Today, the few available spaces between the graves of many famous people are offered at various auctions. These few desirable plots are sold at amazing prices. Sundays attract many cosplay fans to Harajuku Station, where they enjoy being photographed and conversing with all and sundry. A large torii provides access to Yoyogi Park, one of the city's abundant green lungs. Walls with stacked barrels of sake flank the pathway through 70 acres of wooded terrain. The Meiji Shrine appears, Tokyo's most important Shinto shrine, where Emperor Mutsuhito and Empress Shoken were laid to rest. Wedding ceremonies are common here and always attract the eyes of curious onlookers. This popular place of pilgrimage conveys an overwhelming atmosphere of timelessness, silence, and dignity. The magnificent shrines are often dedicated to outstanding personalities of Japanese history, such as this one, dedicated to an imperial couple. The 122nd Emperor of Japan abolished the feudal system and contributed significantly to the modernization of the country. The tiny Jingu Gyoen Garden was once a favorite retreat of the Meiji emperors. Since the time of the first shogunate in the 12th century, the Japanese art of sword forging has been considered to be one of the country's highest forms of culture. The deadly weapons of the samurai were famous for their special method of production and the remarkable sharpness of their blades. Today there are only a few who specialize in these ancient swords and preserve them for future generations. They contain brown patterned images on the scabbard and ornately decorated hilts. Centuries before the nearby fish market opened its doors in 1935, the Namijoke Inari Shrine was located here. Since 1659, both fishermen and tradesmen have prayed here for protection and prosperity. The Tsukiji Fish Market is the world's largest trans-shipment center whose market halls resemble a massive hangar. Surrounded by a labyrinth of small stalls with freshly caught fish and well-prepared food for the many visitors who come here. Early in the morning, the spectacle begins with a lively auction of seafood from all over Japan. It stimulates the appetite of both workmen and visitors alike. North of the Imperial Palace is the Koishikawa Corora Garden, one of Tokyo's most important landscape gardens. Construction of this traditional garden began in 1629 and was completed 30 years later. Stone bridges were built, and various of Japan's famous landscapes were created in miniature. Formerly 4 times larger than it is today, the garden belonged to the Tokugawa clan, and Zhu Shanshui, a Chinese scholar in exile, assisted with its completion. This Japanese garden conveys a tranquil atmosphere, harmony, and complexity. In Edo times, it was popular for relaxing strolls. The philosophical religious principle of yin and yang, whether rocks, water, or plants. Northwards, a green oasis with several shrines attracts visitors from near and far. Ueno Park. We begin our visit at the Tosho Shrine. This magnificent complex is one of the few buildings from the Edo period. Emperor Ieyasu's ashes were laid here before being transferred to Nikko. The great Buddhist pagoda is of recent origin, having been constructed in 1967. The Gojo Shrine is entered through small red torii, which lead to the main shrine. The Bentendo Temple appears in the Shinobazu Pond and is accessible via a bridge. The temple is consecrated to Benten, goddess of water, and was originally built in the 16th century and reconstructed in 1958. The Kiyomizu Kanondo Temple is based on a model of one in Kyoto and has survived numerous battles as well as the Second World War. Saigo Takamori was the leader of a rebellion against the emperor. West of Ueno is Asakura with Senso-ji, Tokyo's most holy temple. It is said that in the year 628 AD, fishermen retrieved a small golden Buddha statue from the Sumida River, and their lord built a shrine for it. Later, the shrine became a temple whose fame, wealth, and dimensions continuously grew larger. The city's oldest temple captivates many visitors, and various sacred festivals take place here. There are a number of secondary temples that contain water fountains and shrines for ritual washing. Silence for religious contemplation cannot be expected in Asakusa Kanendo. Just a few meters away is a small garden in which the busts of gods and noblemen are on display. Next to small shrines, stone figures, and sacred bells. The temple complex is exited by way of a tiny side gate. Next, negotiations with rickshaw drivers concerning destination and price. Then off they go. The Tokyo Sky Tree has become a landmark of the city. 634 meters high, it's the world's tallest broadcasting tower. Its observation platforms are open to the public. It rises higher and higher. The panoramic views from the Tembo Galleria are breathtaking. The gigantic building and its views are quite outstanding. A popular mode of transport for the journey from Asakusa to Tokyo Bay is offered by water bus on the Sumida River. From here, the river looks even wider and more powerful, and the many bridges indicate how much the new districts have grown. The skippers navigate skillfully, and the number of skyscrapers that accompany the river is truly amazing. Each of the bridges has its own individual design and function. Today, the city shows no traces of past earthquakes or devastation caused by the Second World War. Tokyo has now adapted its urban structure to its 23 districts, a triumph of modern planning. Commercial acumen and the diligence of the population has brought great prosperity to this megacity. We arrive at Hinoda Pier Station and transfer to the next leg of our journey. Next, the Bay Cruise. We travel from Tokyo Bay's Hinoda Pier to the Odaiba landing stage. During the crossing, the city's contemporary architecture contrasts with its vibrant history. The arrival of the Black Fleet on July 8, 1853. Commodore Matthew C. Perry landed in hit-and-run style. In the name of former President of the United States of America, Millard Fillmore, he ended Japan's isolation policy and opened up the country for international trade. For reasons of defense, the last shogun, Yoshinobe, wanted to construct 11 artificial islands just off the bay. Part of his plan was realized and the name Daiba remained, now Odaiba. With a shopping and entertainment area and modern port facilities. A futuristic monorail travels across Tokyo Bay, along the harbor via Odaiba, through modern stations, and past new residential and commercial buildings. An evening journey on the elevated railway and over Rainbow Bridge is quite an experience. Both road and rails run side by side before finally separating. Emerging from Tokyo's new architecture is a modern city labyrinth whose remarkable glass surfaces embellish extraordinary constructions. It's much more than design and extravagant technique. Here, functionality harmoniously combines with form, proportions, and material. The return journey by monorail to Odaiba provides a good insight into the new island from an elevated and unusual viewing angle. Odaiba is an entertainment district coupled with futuristic architecture. Whether Aqua City or the Fuji TV building with its floating dome. Everything here is extremely modern. This is where visitors come to have fun, to see Tokyo in a different way, and to experience a romantic sunset. Even the sky seems to adapt to the futuristic architecture. And when huge robots appear from the darkness, the Japanese idyll seems to become reality. The Big Mandarin, as the city likes to call itself, has changed a lot. Skyscrapers and luxury have almost become a religion here. Tokyo has become a center of world economy and finance, a city of contrasts that never sleeps. Once a humble fishing village, and today one of the largest metropolises in the world.